Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to be building my file guide for the upcoming Sugar Creek Forge 2014 build along. I already own a file and I had some 3/4 plywood left over from a previous project, so all I needed was the hardware. $16 at the local Home Depot and I'm ready for this build. So here's what my $16 bought me at Home Depot. A nice container and an assortment of eye bolts ranging from 2 inches all the way up to 5 inches in 1 inch increments. I got myself a couple pipe clamps to affix the file to the rod. I got myself a 3/8 rod, 36 inches long. Next, we'll move on to cutting the plywood. Well, as you can see, there's a pretty good storm coming in. I'm going to have to postpone cutting the wood for today. I should be able to get to it tomorrow. The wood I'll be using today is some leftover 3/4 inch maple veneered plywood I have from an old project. It's probably too nice for this, but it's all I have and it's free. Okay, so now I'm going to mark off 3.5 inches. If you notice, I do start off on the 2-inch mark. This is just so I have a nice reference mark. I don't trust the end of the ruler to always be perfectly square. Alright, real quick, I'll set up my straight edge. And I'm all set for my cut. All done. Next I'll mark out my 10.5, my 11.5, or 10.5, 11, and 14.5 inch pieces. Here's the finished product. I did mess up on the first cut and I cut at 10 inches instead of 10.5. Fortunately, there was enough wood for me to go ahead and cut one last piece at the proper length. Alright, I've already made my center lines and marked out all my 1-inch increments. Now it's just time to glue it up. I might not need so much glue. I am going to be using screws as well. Let's mark the center line on here, 10.5. better fit. Go ahead and get it clamped up here. All right, let's see how that worked out. Alright, just a word of advice. The stove bolts, they get really hot when you're trying to screw or tap these holes here. So I bought a 4-pack and I was able to swap out in between every couple of screw holes, and that minimized the burning of my fingers. I'm going to sand this thing down. Just because it was such a nice piece of maple plywood, I didn't want it to totally be just a tool. So I'll make it a little nicer. Maybe throw some Danish oil on it, protect it, make it last a little longer. Alright, some Danish oil in Naturel. Alright, well, I'm all finished. I've got the rod and the file assembled, and it's looking pretty good. One word of advice: pipe clamps, when you cut them, trim them up, they're sharp and they can cut you pretty good. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be making more videos as I progress with this build along. So please come back and see the progress. Talk to you later.